It's probably kind of, yeah, so that's no fault of ours. And I was like, wait a minute, we had a good time last night, but we ain't had that much of a good time.
Is it showing us? Is it showing us live this morning? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yep, there it is. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's my favorite love song. Oh, that makes me want to go listen to some John Legend. I need it all night long.
Oh, she said, okay, so Keisean is trying to come in. She's saying, let me try again. I don't think she's
okay.
An issue. But listen, you guys, it is Saturday morning. What are you doing this morning? Are you with us or no?
Or no. Better be or y'all. Or y'all. Yeah.
It better be yeah.
Better be with us.
It better be yeah. And I'm looking like where is the event? I clicked it. Can you see us? Oh, here we go. Okay. I don't know what happened. I don't. And then, okay, so let's just go ahead and give this disclaimer right now.
Okay.
I am not at my home base. So if there is issue with the live or the whatever and it shuts off, blame it on not being home. And any noise you hear in the background, blame it on my noisy ass family because it's my cousin's 40th birthday and we are in Vegas. So don't worry about nothing except for enjoying yourself. Okay, let's see. It says the stream status has an okay. You know, I'm on somebody else's Wi-Fi network. Maybe their network is better than mine. I should have asked you if you could see me okay.
Yep, I can see you good.
I should just check and see if maybe send her the link again. I'll be right back, y'all.
Okay.
Everything good over there, T?
We all right. I'm just trying to see if I need to resend my sister friend the link.
There you go for my little spy camera.
And then let me tell y'all, she gonna think I'm talking to her, and because she talking, okay, okay. She said I got it. Just needed to reset the iPad real quick. Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to start without Keisean, so don't pay my auntie no attention. She gonna chime in and do a whole lot of talking. Just if you want to reply to her, say something. I don't know.
Oh, my bad.
It says the stream over here is not that great.
Uh-oh.
It says I guess it's the stream status. It says bad. Are you live? Oh, look, good morning. Hey, Dr. Dermix. Hey, Anastasia. Oh, hey, Mr. Anastasia.
Yeah. Jay Lucas in the house.
Hey, Ty, what's going on? That's Mr. Anastasia. That's Mr. Anastasia.
Hey.
You probably like, no. Hubby's upset you didn't go live Sunday. Well, listen, I don't know why I didn't go live Sunday. I'm sure there was a reason that I personally didn't go live last Sunday, but last Saturday we didn't go live because Michelle was sick and that was important. And she was out of state. Hi, Keisean. Good morning.
Hi, Keisean.
You guys say good morning to Keisean.
I'm here.
I can't hear you that well. Can you hear her okay? Look at her little background setup. She ready.
Okay. I had to turn off my phone was connected to the Bluetooth speaker, so that's why you guys couldn't hear me. So I had to disconnect that. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
You are good. You glowing this morning. Ty wanted to know how we're singing spending Cinco de Mayo. So before we get started, how are you guys spending this beautiful day?
Well, I starting off with this, of course, is an amazing way to start my day. And then afterwards, I'm going to Kinetic Studio for a Cinco de Mayo celebration. And then later on, I'm going to facilitate a healing circle later on, like a circle of women and doing like some meditation, yoga, that kind of vibe. So it's like a full kind of day. How about you guys?
Cool.
Shell?
Well, I'm going to be doing some work today, and then I'm gonna play at nighttime. So if I get all my work done, then I can go have a couple of drinks and do my 1/4. You know, I'm 1/4 of Mexican, so I like to.
You a quarter Mexican? Who would have known?
Nobody would know because I don't even know. I don't even know that, but I claim it because I told my boss I need at least 1/4 of Cinco de Mayo off last year. So, you know, hey,
stay with it. Well, if you caught me when we started, I'm in Vegas. It's my cousin's 40th birthday. She's older than me today. I lie, y'all. I lie. But we're in Vegas, and so the turn up hopefully is gonna be real. There's no hopefully to it. We started yesterday, and it's we going all the way in.
Yeah.
So listen, I have a few questions. You know, every morning, every Saturday, I got questions on questions on questions. So I want to know if you have you ever knowingly, right, been in a relationship with someone and they were in a relationship with someone else? So, you know, you were the other woman, you were, the side chick, you knew he had a girl or you knew she had a girl and she also knew about you. Not necessarily that you all came together, but you each knew of one another. Have you ever done it?
Well, I was gonna say yes up until you said, and she knew about you, and then I was like, no, not that, not in that situation. It was more like, oh, her too, and then it was over. So that was
okay, right. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Shell, look at her with her finger on her. Every time she gets to thinking. Get that thinking emoji going?
Yeah, because see, I'm thinking about my relationship with we call him Fat Courtney, and I'm not fat shaming. He's just this Courtney is skinny Courtney, so he's Fat Courtney. Okay. I was thinking about my relationship with him, and me and a girl were both dating him at the same time. We both knew about each other. It wasn't okay though. I think that's what I was trying to think about. It wasn't okay. Like he was telling us both different things, and we both kind of knew that the other one was still seeing the other one, but it wasn't accepted, if that makes sense. I don't think that makes sense, but
it does make sense because the answer to the question is still yes. You both were dating a guy and you both knew about one another. Yeah. Because I know that there's a lot of times that we're in relationships with people and they in a whole other relationship and you don't even know that they're in a relationship with the other person. And then there's those times when you in a relationship with somebody and you know he in a relationship or she's in a relationship with somebody. And the reason you guys I'm adding she is because Keisean, how you have a nice way of saying how liberated you are. What do you call yourself?
I identify as a queer femme who practices polyamorous relationships.
Did you hear that? A queer femme
wow.
Practicing polyamorous relationships, which kind of brings us right on into today's topic. Because I'm going to just read what Wikipedia says about polyamory so that everybody's clear about what it means. Because some of us think we in a polyamorous relationship because you messing with a married man. And no, that's not a polyamorous relationship. So I looked it up this morning, and it's come from the Greek word poly, meaning many, Latin word amor, meaning love, is the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner with the knowledge of all partners involved. You hear that? The knowledge of all partners involved. It has been described as consensual, ethical and responsible non-monogamy. People who identify as polyamorous reject the view that sexual and relational exclusivity are necessary for deep, committed, long-term, loving relationships. It goes on to talk about how polyamorous arrangements are vary based on, how that group identifies it. But yeah. So now we are clear on what a polyamorous relationship is. I want to know if that's something, well, we already see that Keisean identifies, you hear polyamory in her definition of her identity, her love identity. I don't even know what to call that.
That's a good word. I like that. Love identity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we see that. Michelle, would you consider? Have you considered? Do you think that you could? Could you share Courtney with me?
I'm too jealous. I'm too jealous for that because I would be like, so you giving her more than me? Like everything would have to literally be all the same. Like you couldn't show her more attention than me. You couldn't like take her out to eat and not take me. Like I just don't think it would work out.
So listen. Go ahead, Keisean. I'm sorry. We lost you, Keisean.
So like I'm too jealous or like possessive or whatever over your partner is super common, and that's why introducing the polyamorous practice once you've already been in a monogamous relationship with somebody can be tricky. Mm-hmm. But if you started off that way, where it's like you meet somebody, you vibe with them, you let them know up front, I'm practicing non-monogamy, I'm practicing polyamory, and they have the choice at that moment to, like Talisa said, to either consent to continue to, be involved with you or not. That's not the same thing as like, oh, I've already been with this person, we've been practicing exclusive monogamy, and oh, by the way, I want to bring some. You can, but it makes it a little tricky to bring the fact.
So we got questions.
Okay.
I got lots of questions because I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, so if I walk into it knowing that, I still think I would be a jealous person because I think I'm just that type of person where I want you to myself. Like I don't like sharing because I get jealous of you, of even imagining you spending time with somebody else.
But here's the thing. I don't think that you would necessarily get jealous, and here's why. Because when I think about polyamory, because there was a moment in my life that I thought, shit, I might. Because here's, and in my case, I would have said it would have been like 2 guys and 2 girls. And what for me that would have meant was we could date anyone in that circle. That love is shared in that circle. So let's just say it's me, you, Courtney, and whoever Bay is for me at the time. We all love each other equally. You understand what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be any jealousy because you know that you love them and each of you love one another equally and are consenting. So me and you could go out on a date, Michelle, and me and Courtney could go out on a date, and me and Bay, or you and Bay. I don't know about Courtney and Bay, but the fact of the matter is everybody would equally be loving on one another. So I could date you, I could sleep with you, I could, I don't know. I was really open to the idea for about a hot second. And so my question, Keisean, is, so I'm single today, right? I'm single. And I would say, if I decided, well, I want to start practicing polyamory. So I meet somebody and I would tell them right off that I'm practicing polyamory. Like, how would that work?
Well, you tell them when you know that you actually intend to be like sexually involved with them. You might want to have that conversation. And the reason why I say introduce it at the beginning is because most people, I would say most people, without blanketing anybody, most people assume that you're monogamous. Most people do. Single, not single, you meet somebody, you click with them, you vibe with them, you start spending more time together. Even if you haven't actually slept with them, they assume that they're the only person that you're talking to, or they're the only person that you're hooking up with. They assume that even before you even go there. So the reason why I say introduce it at the beginning is to kind of like eliminate that assumption. Like, oh, FYI, I'm practicing non-monogamy. So we can do whatever we're going to do, but just know that I'm leaving myself open to explore, or I already have a primary, person that I'm already involved with. And if you want to be another person, I'm giving you the choice. And I think when you let somebody know up front, that in some cases kind of like eliminates that feeling of somebody being like, oh, I was bamboozled. I didn't even know you were fucking with other people. And it's like, oh no, I told you up front, you know, and to know that like waiting to save that until later can come off like sneaky and deceitful and all that other kind of stuff versus just laying it out on the table in the beginning.
Okay, so what I just heard was, so I could have a primary relationship, and my primary partner may know that I practice polyamory, right? But he may not necessarily practice it. Yeah. But he knows that I practice it and that I'm open. And then when I say, well, I met someone that I'm interested in, I go and say, boo, like, listen. So I got this new boo that I like, and I'm just coming to you to say that, you know, I'm activating our agreement. Like,
exactly.
I don't know. It kind of feels weird, and that's because innately I am a monogamous woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm a one-woman man. Innately, you understand? Right. So for a lot of people like myself, it's hard for us to wrap our head around the fact that I'm going to be open with my partner and tell them that I want to fuck this other dude.
I know.
Like, I'm wild confused.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I was gonna say, like you said, Talisa, it does, you know, kind of cause you to go like way outside your normal like box of thinking when you think about relationships. But one example like that, one of my friends and I were talking about recently is like, say you have a primary, or say Michelle, you're in a relationship, and you're out and about living life, and you meet somebody, and you're like, dang, I'm vibing with him. Now you might exchange numbers, maybe you might, you know, have coffee, maybe you might, you know, hook up for lunch or something like that, and it's all pretty innocent, you know, at that point. Would you tell your partner about this person off the bat, even if nothing happened, or would you keep it to yourself?
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't even let it get that far because I feel like I'm cheating.
Okay, right, because your relationship is set up in a monogamous, you know, kind of dynamic. But if you're in a relationship with someone that knows that you're practicing non-monogamy and knows that you're polyamorous, that same scenario, you would be able to go to your partner and say, hey, you know what, I met somebody. And at this point, it might still be so early on that you know, haven't really gone there with them, but you just want to spend time with this person and you want to explore that. You would then go to your primary or your main and say, hey, this is where I'm at. And because your primary already knows you, because you've already disclosed this to them, then they, you know, still are allowing that, you know, to happen because they've consented to be involved with you in the first place.
So I'm looking, and Dr. D, she's got questions.
Okay.
The first off, she would be like, she's a Sagittarius. She's too jealous for polyamorous relationships. But she wants to know, when one party wants to end the relationship, but the other does not, how does that work? Do two people have to vote the third off the island or not? That's only if I don't know, this is me thinking, only if all of you are involved with it together. And then her follow-up question was, what's the difference between polyamory and an open relationship? Uh-oh, we lost you, Keisean.
Also,
did we lose everybody?
Non-monogamy isn't always, non-monogamy isn't just about sex also. That's like another little offshoot. Sometimes you can have an emotional intimacy with someone that doesn't actually involve any physical, you know, exchange, so to speak. And so that can be an exercise. An open relationship is, like to your example, Talisa, an open relationship is both partners, so to speak, your primaries, are practicing non-monogamy. Whereas a polyamorous relationship, you might have a primary who's like, I'm monogamous. Like you said, I'm innately monogamous. This is how I operate. I just want to be with you. And they are accepting and consensually participating into being in a relationship with you, even though you're letting them know that you're not monogamous. So that's kind of the difference, if that makes sense. As far as like ending, is that what her question was, how do you end? essentially the same way you decide to end any other relationship. I would hope, it's a mutual, decision that says, hey, this isn't working for one or both. Because if it's not working for both of us, it's not working, essentially. Or if it's not working for the three of us or the four of us, it's not working. If one wheel ain't working, the car won't go. So it's kind of like that. It has to be a constant consensual practice. Otherwise, it's just like a shit show. So.
And see, I think about like when you have a pimp, you have a pimp and he's the main, and then he has all of these other women who just follow up after him. And I always wondered, what would make them stay knowing that he has all these other women. I guess because when you're raised to be monogamous, that's what you think of. You feel like you can't share. I don't know. This is crazy because it's blowing my mind to think about, like, if Courtney came to me right now and he said, well, babe, I love you so much, and I think that I would like to try, having another person in a relationship. I don't know how I could feel about that.
That's a real feeling. And go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because I was getting. I can't hear. I'm gonna have to go outside because I can hear y'all. So if I'm moving around, don't pay me no mind. Okay. I'm gonna have to just hope that everything works for me outside for a little while. Okay. If I start looking like it's making some moves, I'm going to come back inside because it's not that they're. I don't know if you guys can hear their noise, but I can't hear you. So what happens is I'm competing to hear you talk. Okay, so I have a question. I mean, I was gonna make a statement, and my statement was, so can you see me okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. So my statement was,
ooh, nature.
Yes, honey. Let's compete with the birds. My question is, would it be considered selfish though? Is that selfish that I'm practicing polyamory and my primary is monogamous and faithful to me, right? Loves on me and says, no, I don't want to be a part of that. I just want you. But you go ahead and you be polyamorous. Is that considered? I feel like I would be selfish. Now, I have a tad bit of a jealous streak, but I kind of work through my jealousy a lot of times. Like, there's no competing with me. Like, I'm the shit. So I kind of work through my little jealous streak a lot of times. But I don't know if I could handle me telling him, okay, I'm monogamous to you, but you go ahead and practice polyamory. My ass, the way I'm set up, I'd be like, we in that together. Let's go ahead and evolve and catapult into an open relationship the way I'm set up.
And that's real. And that's why I go back to the consent, because the thing is, 2 points. Point one is that, like, to Lisa's point, if your partner is innately monogamous and does not want to...
But I can't hear nothing. What happened?
Oh, you can't hear? Can you split?
Hey! I don't hear nothing.
Oh. Can you hear me?
I can hear you still.
I can hear you, yeah. Oh,
no, I had gotten... I got a Bluetooth speaker so I could hear better.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, if your partner, if your primary, okay, or your main, is innately monogamous and you're not, then you can't, make him or her, practice what you're practicing. And the reason why I don't think it's selfish is because you're communicating it authentically. You're letting this person, consent to participating, and you're operating in your natural state. You know what I mean? To Michelle's point about the pimp thing, I hear that a lot. And the difference, I would say, between the pimp dynamic of a relationship and the polyamorous dynamic is that the pimp is essentially dictating who his or her women or men or whatever can involve themselves with. They're dictating. It's a top-down relationship, whereas a polyamorous is an equal ground relationship. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the difference. But you're right. I think that a lot of us, well, I can even say, even just speaking for women, a lot of us were raised to believe like you find a man, you get married, you have some babies, that's your life. That's
Right.
it. Men, a lot of them were groomed to be like, fuck the nation, and then eventually sit down. And
Right.
it's a whole different experience. So I think that women, we do naturally have a more difficult time wrapping our minds around it because that's not how we were groomed. We weren't groomed to be liberated sexually. We were groomed to be um, restricted in a lot of ways. So, you know, stay a virgin to your certain point. Then, like, those are the kinds of, they don't tell that to little boys. I mean, they didn't.
And I really like that you brought that up about women not being as sexually liberated as men. And that's really a valid point when we think about our sexuality as a whole as women. When you and I did that sensual challenge, and it was the point is so that you feel free and feminine and liberated to be sexually okay with who you are innately. And so it makes me think about, like, Michelle, some of the conversations that we had in the past. Like, remember when Tequila was saying how, you know, her freak flag wasn't flying until, you know, more recently here, or, you know, how we are a lot more inhibited to try different things because of what the norm is or what society says. And so then it brings me to the question about with polyamorous relationships. When other people know what you do or who you are, what lifestyle you've chosen to practice, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with other people's perceptions? Do you just say, fuck it? Because again, like I was saying, women aren't as sexually liberated as we would like to be. Like, I think I feel like I'm a lot more sexually liberated than most women. I feel like that, but then sometimes I don't. So how would you deal with that?
Probably the same way that I deal with any other opinions or judgments about myself or the way that I live. You know, I think that women, I think that there is like an element of evolution that's happening for women even just right now, as far as like body positivity and identifying what's feminine and identifying what's sensual, and, you know, embracing that we actually do have power that men don't have because of our sexuality and our sexual expression. I think that certain people, you know, have their views or their opinions about it, but a lot of it does come from just a lack of understanding or awareness about it. And I find that those who are willing to do what we're doing right now, which is have a conversation about it, to at least gain some perspective, I'm always open to share authentically and answer whatever questions. Other people will be like, oh, you just a pimp. Oh, you just a hoe. And I'm like, oh, well, you're cheating on your girlfriend, so whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of because like, I'd rather be open and authentic about it than be sneaky and deceitful. So
I mean, you got it.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, because I'm going to remember mine.
Okay, what came to mind to me a couple minutes ago is the emotional aspect of it. Like, I would feel like I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not good enough by myself.
Say that. I like that, because you know what? That is something that we as women do. We feel like, for instance, your man cheats on you. You feel like you weren't good enough. You know what I'm saying? You feel like I didn't give him everything he needed. He had to go seek it from somewhere else. Or, you know, like, you do start to, so that is valid. Like, I don't know if I would feel like that.
I can see myself feeling like that if even walking into it at some point in time, feeling like I'm not good enough for this person to just want me by myself. And I think that would lead me to not be in it. Like, thinking about it, I probably would give it a try if that was something that we really could. But I'm just
not that open to it. You don't think? But no, I think I think that's a good point. And so with how Keisean said in the beginning, how she said to the person in the beginning, I am practicing polyamory. And because I'm doing this, I give you the option to join or to say, no, this isn't what I want to do. And even with you, Michelle. So if, let's say, Courtney comes to you with that bullshit, right? Because that's how your mind is thinking right now. He comes to you with it and you say, okay, babe, well, I love you and I'm willing to try to see what's going to make our relationship work.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't work, you know what I'm saying? When it doesn't work, do you say to him, okay, well, I'm out? Do you say in the beginning, well, we're going to try it, babe, but if it doesn't work out for me, do you love me enough to go back to being faithful and committed and loving only me? Right. Or is this something that you must have? And if he chooses that this is something that he must have, then this isn't the relationship for you, right? You bow out. You bow out gracefully like the beautiful women that we are, and we push forward. But we would hope, that it's a phase. Like, babe, well, did you just want to go to a party? Did you just feel like you needed to get some spice? Because I heard that there was this party, or we could go to the Green Door in Vegas, or what is it? You know, I know a group that swings. Like, is this something that is an itch you want to scratch, or is this a lifestyle that you want to practice?
Yeah, like I think that's where I would be with it. Like, exactly where is this? I don't know, man. I'm just thinking about it. Even if I really like someone and I really was invested and he got time to decide on whether we were gonna be, you've been talking to someone and you've built this kind of situationship, but not quite a relationship yet, and you're in the works of trying to figure out if you're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and then boom, you built these feelings for that person, and they say, hey, I'm practicing this, and it's like, dog, I gotta make a decision, but I really like this person. Okay, I'll give it a try. Oh, Lee.
So yeah, then you start thinking to yourself, okay, because this is what happens to us as women, as women. I'm not gonna even say men, because men are they have a lot of, as my sister by love would say, non-negotiables, things that they are not gonna do, and so it's an emphatic no. But we as women, because we like somebody a lot, you know what I'm saying? You're saying to yourself, I feel like this is really gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, let me try it because he wants to do this. Just like, any kind of freaky sex. If your man comes to you and he says he wants to try it, even though you like, I'm not with it, you think I really am into him and this is gonna make him happy, so let me try it. And I think that that's what happened with us. And I feel like we need to, number one, identify what it is that we want and not just settle for something because somebody else says. So if polyamory isn't the thing for you, it's not the thing for you. If you feel like you want to try it and see if, I'm open to it, then that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Are you tracking with me or am I off? Like,
no, you're on. I think
I'm there.
I think you're totally on, because like what you're describing is really about, what both of you are describing is really about being very clear about what it is that you are comfortable with. Because like you said, you might have a partner, even in a monogamous relationship, that's like, oh, I want to try this thing out. I want to explore some other avenues as far as our sex is concerned. And if you are not with it, but you do it anyway because it pleases your partner, then you're already kind of stepping out of, okay, wait, is this really working for me though? I think that's where the consent element comes up. And it happens. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but it happens in monogamous relationships where, I know I have a close friend who is married and has been married for like 8 or 9 years. And he loves to go to the strip club every Wednesday and Friday and Saturday. His wife can't stand it. They don't go together. That's his thing. So she tolerates it, you know what I mean? Because it pleases him. Yeah. And then they do whatever they do and swing from the chandeliers when he gets home. But that's like his thing. And it's always been his thing. And he went into the relationship saying, this is my thing. So she consented to that. And she's participating in it. Now, I don't know exactly how far he goes with those strippers, and I'm not going to put him out there like that, but that's what he does. So I feel like in any relationship, when you're honest and transparent with your partner in the beginning, and as the relationship continues, as things come up, because depending on how long you're with somebody, you're going to be with them through different stages of their own development. And they might not have known in year 1 what they know in year 5. You know what I mean? And if you're committed to this person and you have, transparent communication with this person, then you create that safe space for them to say, hey, babe, you know what? I kind of want to try this. Like you said, maybe we can go to Vegas for the weekend, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and we just explore that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're open to it, then you roll with it. But if you're not, you as a woman, want to feel empowered enough to be like, I'm not really with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so somebody once told me that I'm probably too transparent, and I feel like I'm so transparent because I don't want anybody to have any surprises when it comes to me. I don't want you to think that, oh, I was one way and I wasn't. So yeah, I don't like the way you do something. I'm going to say I don't like it. Like, I don't like it. Is it a deal breaker? Let's say I don't like the way you chew. Okay. You chew with your mouth open. For me, is that a deal breaker? No, it's just something that I don't like. It's not necessarily a deal breaker. I like you as a person. It's just something that I see that I'm not a fan of. And maybe you don't even know that you chew with your mouth open. So me bringing it to your attention makes you a little more conscious of it. That's not a deal.
I'm elevating you, right?
I'm elevating you. Absolutely. And I feel like being transparent and open and honest about what your intent is or what kind of relationship that you want to be in and all that kind of stuff is so key in the communication portion of the get to know me stage of the relationship. So it's hard for people. That's like I always feel like when people be like, oh, well, I didn't know. Well, what part did you skip from get to know me to I'm just going to fuck me? Like, because that happens. I mean, I have done it. Have you skipped from the get to know me phase and went straight to fuck the shit out of me? And in that skip, now you're trying to learn stuff about somebody that you didn't know previously. I mean, have you ever done it, Michelle? Have you ever been in that position where you did not have the communication that you should have?
Yeah, I've started relationships like that before. Probably the guy that was before Courtney, I would say I did a lot of accepting of things that I normally wouldn't because I was attracted to who he was and not I was attracted to what he was and not who he was. Right. And so he had like a whole situation going on, like a whole baby mama, like 3 kids by the same woman, still taking care of her type thing. And I was still trying to kind of fit myself in there. So I was accepting things that I wouldn't normally accept. He didn't want to go, like we couldn't really go out in public together because of his situation. So I don't know, like I've done that before, and I don't like it. So when I came into the relationship with Courtney, it's been a lot different because of that. I know that I had to come in with a realistic mindset and telling him of what I wanted and what I didn't want.
Right. Okay. I thought I had to come back, but it's still too noisy, and I can't. Internet's not good out there, y'all. So stay with me.
All right.
Stay with me.
We're with you.
Stay with me, y'all. Oh, well, I have to be able to sit my stuff down. The internet is messing up. Are we still live, y'all?
We're still live, but one of them has cut off. So
one of them cut. Yeah, I don't know, but I see you and I can hear you.
Y'all forgive me for the whole moving around and stuff. In real life, it's like on the spot. I don't know, trouble fixing.
It's okay. It's all good.
I don't know. The internet here said that something couldn't be reached. Let me see. Okay. Michelle, are they saying they can't hear us and see us? Did they say we left?
No, they say we're still live.
Okay, we're still live? Okay, good. Good.
It says that the internet is connected. I just say we just keep talking until...
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that was a life lesson that I think that everyone should learn. And that's why I appreciate you saying you should go into it from the beginning and let them know what your expectations are or what you're practicing from the jump, because it's a communication thing. And if you miss that step, then you go into it blindsided and that person can end up hurt. Like, I think like I'm more emotional about this than anything. Like I'm really playing on my emotions of how I would feel if I just think I'm just forget it. I'm too jealous for that. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, but you know what?
So the whole idea,
I'm glad to be honest with yourself though. Like if you can't be honest with yourself to know that this isn't something you could do, then you could end up in a situation that'll be all jacked up. And the fact of the matter is, most women, not all women, most women operate from an emotional place.
Right.
We all do. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're innately, it's something about us that God, the makeup that God has given us that makes us emotional beings. Right. That's how we connect differently, like with our family and our friends and our lovers and our children, because we are emotionally connected. We are empathetic by nature. So we automatically feel a whole lot of other stuff where men can detach and be like, oh, I'm with polyamory. You not bi. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So I'm glad because I'm emotional, but you ain't gonna be polyam. We gonna be in an open relationship.
Yeah.
No, that's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, Michelle, I think that recognizing how you connect, recognizing what's important to you is so key because, like Talisa said, women, we're heart-centered beings. That's how we function. That's what allows us to bring life, is our ability to open ourselves up and really, connect, like you said, emotionally. And I think that what happens when people go into relationships without communicating exactly what their expectations and what their intentions are, that's what creates the hurt later on. Is I didn't tell you what I wanted and then you didn't do it and now I'm hurt. Or I told you what I wanted and you didn't do it and I'm hurt. Or, you know what I mean? So it's like going in with that laid on the table. And some people are like, dang, how can you just come out the gate? And I'm like, well, I can give you, 55 examples of when I've met somebody and vibed with them and slept with them and found out, oh, you're married. Oh, wow, thanks.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what
exactly.
I'm saying?
That's the one,
that
though.
might have been important to know in the beginning. So there's situations where you do get blindsided and then you're severely broken at that point because you went in thinking, okay, we're both showing up, we're both being transparent, we're both being real, and you let yourself get completely vulnerable, and then they just, they screw you over. Versus, let me lay all this on the table up front. And it does leave you very open to judgment or shame, and I think a lot of women in particular are getting to a place where they're starting to be more honest and transparent about their non-monogamy because in the past, not even in the past, in a lot of spaces, it's still considered, unacceptable for a woman to be non-monogamous, but it's totally fine for a dude.
Right. Right. Men get props for it, and women, we get called hoes. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's came back with a video with all the extra stuff. There we go. Okay. I'm sorry. I was present, but I wasn't. I heard everything, but I was present.
It's okay.
I really do enjoy Girlfriend Chronicles because we do get to talk about a lot of stuff that we wouldn't normally address and we would normally talk about and be so open to, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are wondering, okay, this is a question that somebody would ask, being, well, why did you choose that love lifestyle for yourself? Why? Keisean, what made you say, this is who I am and this is what I want to do? How did you come to that?
I feel like I've always been innately non-monogamous, especially from an emotional intimacy place. I, have very deep connections with people that even without any sexual, exchange happening, deep love relationships and romantic love relationships with people. And I've always kind of just been that way. I was married to my son's father. And before we got married, we were in an open relationship. And our household was like set up so that we could openly practice our openness under the same roof, so to speak.
Okay.
And we he was my teammate, you know what I mean? We would go out and explore, and we went to the parties and we joined the communities, and this is back in like way long time ago. Like FaceTime, Black Planet, back, way long time ago. But we operated in that space, and then once we had a child, then we sat down and had the conversation again, like, okay, so are we going to continue this? because now we're raising this child together.
Right.
And we did, we sustained it for as long as we could. And we did get to the point where I discovered that I was no longer in a space where I felt comfortable being in sexual relationships with a man. And then he was in a space where he was no longer comfortable with practicing non-monogamy. So we did have a mutual parting and dissolving of the marriage, and we continue to co-parent. But I knew it a long time ago. And I also knew that I was, being deemed as a cheater, and, you're exploring all these other things because I had all these other, intimate relationships, and some of them were sexual relationships. And I didn't want to be that. I'm like, I'm not a cheater. I'm not a deceitful person, but I was keeping it quiet because I felt like there's no way this person's going to accept this. There's no way they're going to be okay with it. Now I'm like, I'm 40 years old. This is who I am. This is what works for me. This is what's real for me. And sometimes I do think about long term, and sometimes, people who practice polyamory are like, it's a weeding out process. You know what I mean? You may end up with one, and that might be your one forever and ever. Or if you find yourself in like a triad, then you do have a relationship that consists of, a grouping of people that are like, we are going to do life forever like this. So yeah. I hope I answered the question.
I think I'm enlightened. I think I've been enlightened. I think, I had a small concept or a small thought of what polyamory was. Can you guys close that door back, please? Can you close that door, please? So I had a small concept of what polyamory was, but now I think I have a bigger understanding and a respect for that type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want anyone to think that polyamory is the same thing as polygamy. It is not. I should have defined what polygamy was, but I forgot. So that's what so that people would know what the difference is. If I felt like it, I'd run in the house and grab it. I could probably look on the internet so we could get the right definition of polygamy. I don't want anybody to confuse the two, because polyamory is love, is consensual. I guess polygamy is too, though. Let's look it up.
Polygamy is really more of the pimp dynamic, to be perfectly honest, to call it what it is, and this is not to shame people that are in polygamous relationships, but what makes polygamy different than polyamory is that you do have one who is partnered with many, as opposed to many that are partnered with many. So that's a big difference. Polygamy is like, when you think of, no shade to those who are Mormons, but you think of, the one man, or even in some African tribes, the one man with many, many wives. That would be a polygamous practice versus a polyamorous practice.
So like you said, no shade to anyone, but that would also be those Muslim communities that practice having one man and different wives, and yeah. That is definitely a selfish practice, I think. But
I think
that ain't,
because it takes the freedom away from the women to have the same privilege and the same practices as the man does, and that takes away the freedom, and that's why I don't.
Change the printer.
Yeah.
So let me see if we had any questions. I don't know. I might not be able to. Maybe if Michelle has a moment, she could see if there's any other questions.
There wasn't too many questions. It was just everyone was saying it was kind of enlightening, and Dr. D was agreeing with me that she would probably be looking. She said she'll be looking at acting crazy, but she's glad that she knows it about herself because she's making her boundaries clear. And I'm excited to know the difference between polyamory and polygamy, and from just a brief research, like brief looking it up, it says polyamory means having multiple loving relationships, usually, but not always sexual. Unlike polygamy, people in polyamorous relationships stress the importance of open communication and equal relationships between partners, whether male or female.
Right.
And I think that, like you said, that was the difference with polygamy. It was more so you have your one person who's in charge of everything, and everyone else just kind of goes with it regardless. Whereas in polyamory, everybody is on an equal playing field. They're on an equal grounds with everything that's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so it always brings us right back to who you are, what you want, and knowing it, setting those boundaries, defining it, communicating it, so that there is no confusion, because it is definitely different. I was telling one of my longtime girlfriends that I was going to be doing this live, and she said to me, well, people are in polyamorous relationships and don't know it. And I looked at her and I said,
exactly.
They're not in polyamorous relationships. What they're in is a love triangle, because somebody isn't being transparent to the two people that they're dealing with. I said, so that's an entirely different thing, because polyamory is about being, as you just read, being open. It's a loving relationship, and everybody knows, and it is consensual. It is not you sneaking around and cheating on me, dipping your stick in several different women.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna say this. I can respect a man that tells you, well, I'm dating several people.
Right.
He may not say I'm in a polyamorous relationship, but he's saying I'm dating several people, and I'd like to continue to see. I could understand that, but you at that point need to set boundaries. Like, okay, so is this what you plan on doing forever? Is this your lifestyle, or is this just you just in the phase in your life, and right now I just don't want to be committed to one person? Because then you get I like the option of having the choice to choose, to say yes, to say no, to say I'm with it, or okay, okay, well, I'm glad you told me, like, and it's not for me. Like, I really respect that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, because like you said, I mean, when you're an adult and you're participating in adult relationships, when you remove the opportunity for choice and you remove the opportunity for consent, the dynamic is already fucked up. You know what I mean? And I think that's why when people are able to just say straight up out the gate, this is who I am, this is what I'm practicing, this is how I operate, or like you said, I'm dating multiple people, maybe I'm not sleeping with everybody, maybe it's just to be real. But what happens is that people want to put on, like Chris Rock, like they want the representative to show up at first and just tell you all the good, not to say that this isn't good, but they want to highlight their accolades, and the parts that they've maybe been shamed about before, they keep hidden. And I that, where I've experienced, meeting somebody new, and the question is always, are you single? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not married, you know what I mean? And I'm not monogamous. So does that answer your question, or what do you really want to know? And really diving in and asking them, well, what are your intentions? What are you looking for? And people are like, do you really go into something like that? I'm like, I have to. This is after years of conditioning, you know what I mean? That I recognize that for me to have the types of relationships that are going to be thriving, where there's mutual respect and there's mutual consent and there is, mutual love and romance that's happening, you got to eliminate all the deception and the secrecy by just laying it out on the table. And you can only do that when you've identified exactly what works for you. And once you know that, you can communicate it to somebody else.
Listen, I'm so glad, Keisean, that you came on here. I don't even know how to tell you that, except for I'm so glad that you joined us. I'm so glad that you enlightened us. I'm so glad. Again, one more time. Yeah, that's really, that's the only thing that I can say is I'm really happy that you were so transparent for us, because it did make me think that maybe right now in my life, because I'm always talking about maybe I don't want to babe, a single babe. Maybe I don't know what this makes me kind of revisit. I don't know, but innately my spirit is monogamous. My spirit is monogamous. Like you said, you knew that you weren't. That you didn't have, you were had a non-monogamous spirit, but my spirit is, monogamous with a little sauce and spice and seasoning on the side, like
right,
not cheating, but a little, little
sprinkle, little sprinkle on top.
Yeah. little something, because I don't, listen, don't bore me. You can't bore me. We got to do some different stuff. Don't bore me, because
exactly.
I got
right. Exactly.
And I'm so scared that this thing is gonna shut off because my whole laptop is frozen. I don't know how it looks on the live on the channel right now. So I'm gonna say that we close this thing out so that it doesn't shut off for us.
Which is fine because it's 11:26, so we're a good time.
We're on time, right?
Oh,
yeah.
good. Well, you see how easy that hour just passed by.
Just went on by.
It flies by when you're having. Look, my shit is shutting down. Okay, you guys, I love you in real life. Hugs and kisses and lots of love.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.